Hi, and welcome to the overview of MBA512 Strategic Planning and Strategic Management. Okay, so this is a winter class, so it means it's only 3 weeks, but it's a pretty intense 3 weeks. Let me get you in the right frame of mind here. If you were to attend this course in person in the winter session, you would be attending 4 days a week, say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for 4 hours a day. So that's 16 hours a week in class. And then time outside of class to do the homework. So keep in mind that 20 to 25 hours is not an unusual amount of time to spend working on this class. And if you're spending less time than that, you're taking shortcuts, you're not really going to get the full assessment of this class. Okay, so let me go over the course as I designed it as a winter class. And this class has been very successful in the past. So I haven't really changed anything. I'm keeping with the success the class has had, and the students overwhelmingly have been happy with the format and the progression of the winter class, because you have to take a little bit special care designing a winter class to make sure it's achievable in 3 weeks. There's only so much that can be done in this time period. Okay. So I have this link here, getting started with the course, and that's probably the first place you should go to. And I'm going to outlay 5 basic things for getting started. 1, watch the video syllabus. That's what you're watching right now, which is good. 2, see assignments on the menu tab to view all case studies and submit homework assignments. 3, see the discussion boards in the menu tab to post and reply to class discussion topics. 4, register for the class simulation at jupiterinteractive.net using class code JAN16. And 5, subscribe to the class playlist on YouTube. So I host all the class lectures and built a playlist on YouTube that if you subscribe to the playlist, you'll be able to chronologically see all the videos for the course. Okay, so let's just go to announcements first. In announcements is where I sort of organize the class. So you should always check announcements. The first announcements I have is the getting started with the MBA512, which is basically just the putting the link to this video, which you're already watching because I probably emailed it to you, or maybe you popped onto the website and saw this first announcement, and now you're watching this video, which is good. Okay, next under announcements, I have the week 1 class outline. So for each week, every week, I try to send you a new email outlining what's going to be happening in class for that week. So, you want to take this class kind of week by week and not get overwhelmed. So I'm trying to lay things out in a weekly format. So each week I'll email you and post in the announcements the overview of what you'll be doing that week. So for week 1, you're going to be working on 2 cases. Case 1 is on drug prices, and case 2 is on Tesla. And also, you'll be working in the Zoom simulation classroom competition, and round 1 is due on January 6th at 11 p.m. Discussion boards, you'll be working on questions 1 and 2. Make sure you make your original posts on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and your replies hopefully by Thursday or Friday. What I don't want is people to post their originals on Friday when no one's reading anymore. Okay, so in week 1, we're gonna outlay it by day. So on Tuesday, this is just suggestion. You can choose the days you want to work if you want to work on the weekends or but I'm just kind of outlaying the class time here. So on Tuesday, you should read chapter 1 and watch my chapter 1 video and start working on the discussion board questions. On Wednesday, read chapter 2. I have 2 videos for chapter 2. And on Thursday, read chapter 3. I have a video for chapter 3. And on Friday, you will read chapter 4. And I also have a video on chapter 4. So that's just sort of an outline of what you'll be doing in week 1. And each week, I will post 2 announcements, what you should be doing for each day for the week, so you have a good idea of how things are laid out. Now, so announcements are a really important area to look for. Let's go to course documents. So in the course documents, the first thing I have here is a student example case study. So a lot of times I know students like it that if you give work, they'd like to see another student example who got an A on a similar type of case, so you can have an idea of what I'm looking for when you create a case. And this is a PDF file of a case from a couple of years ago. I recently updated and switched it out for different, more recent cases, but you can get an idea of the type of response I'm looking for and the formatting. And I expect that case studies are going to be put together in a professional manner, meaning that you're going to have your name up top, the class, the name of the case, question 1. You can restate the question, answer the question completely, and you'll see how that was question 2, and graphics are fine. Now, when you do a case study, make sure that I will give you a start of the case, which are the questions and some relevant information which the case is based on, and I'm looking for you to put together a response where you're actually taking information from the material I provided, taking information from our textbooks, or taking information from additional research you've done on more current or other related articles when you're putting together your response to the case study. So you'll see question 4, 5, question 6. This is a rather lengthy case study. There are 6 questions, I guess, which is in 2. Some case studies may be 4 questions, some can be 6 or longer. And at the end, what's very important is to have your references. So you have a reference to, if you're pulling information from other sources, if you're going to cite a fact, I need a source for it. If you're going to cite or quote something from a different article or book, I need a citation for it. That includes, when you do pull the information, you actually cited the information where you're getting it from. So I could see how your citations relate to the actual work, the paper you've put together. Okay. Well, you can view that document for yourself, get an idea of what a graduate level response to case study questions are. And I'm looking for, a professional level type of paper. Okay, so let's go over the syllabus first. Now, you may want to open up Blackboard and open up the syllabus when I'm going over this. You may not be able to read everything because of depending how tight your viewer is. So what I'm talking about here is just giving you the basic information for this winter class. My office hours are Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. and I'm using SB Connect. You see this little link here, SB Connect? When you click on that, it'll open up a separate video /chat /cooperative type of environment where we can work together, sort of like a virtual office hours, not that different from Skype. Okay, now this is an asynchronous class, which means that we don't all have to log in and get together at the same time, like we could do in like a Skype environment or something like that. So we're not actually ever going to all be here together at the same time. You set your own pace day or night when you want to work and when you want to contribute to this class. Now, I do set deadlines when things need to be due, so you have to get things completed before the deadline, but the time you choose to work on it anytime before the deadline is fine. So this gives you a lot of freedom. So you can be anywhere in the world in any time zone. And just remember, the class will operate on Eastern time zone. So all the due dates and times will be in the New York time. Okay. So what is this class about? This class is about strategy and about companies who alter their strategy and managers who develop a new strategy for a company. And we want to look at how groups of people work together who are interested in business and what business does to improve business, to measure business, to think of key strategic terms to develop existing businesses and maintain a competitive advantage and strategize opportunities, threats, weaknesses, really how top management looks at the available resources and opportunities for a company and makes the company profitable. So how we're going to be accomplishing these learning goals, we're going to go into, we have 2 textbooks. One is a traditional textbook of time-tested strategic management principles, which is the Kellogg's book. I call that the Red Ocean book. And we also have the Blue Ocean book, which is more innovative, current thinking and strategy and competitive positioning. So we're going to use the textbooks that I just talked about, case studies that I've put together for the class that focus on some key elements of current companies. We're going to also be using an online business simulation, and the business simulation is to help me to witness you strategizing, planning out a strategy, deploying a strategy, and becoming successful as a company, and making all the decisions in the company in the marketplace to really bring these concepts to life. Okay, so class time will include covering information of the textbooks, discovering case studies and current events, and I'll use the discussion boards to promote a class environment. Now, here are the two textbooks. One is Kellogg's on Strategy, Concepts, Tools, Frameworks, and this book is probably about a $20 book. That's a very condensed book of the big topics in strategic management. So kind of a very efficient way to learn the key basics of strategy. Now, book 2, Blue Ocean, is generally another $20 book. This Blue Ocean book is more forward-thinking, more futuristic, more innovative type of strategic management, more current and recently developed strategic tools and ideas. So these two books together think of this Kellogg's book like a history book and the Blue Ocean book like a guide to the future. And these two books will be very substantial in developing and maintaining your strategic outlook. Okay, all assignments will be posted on Blackboard, and I'll get to that in a minute. Your grades will be as follows. Participation in the discussion boards will be 18 points. Figure that should be 6 points a week. I have 7 points, so I gotta fix that. The mini casework is 40 points. We have 4 cases of 10 points each. The online exam will be 27 points. Now, this will be posted on January 20th at 6 a.m. and it'll close on January 24th at 10 p.m. So you have 4 days to work on it. It's a multiple choice test based mostly on both textbooks. I'm sorry, it's not multiple choice. It's essay based and short answer based test based on the 2 textbooks. Now, we also have a simulation. We're using the Zoom simulation, which is a inexpensive simulation, the best simulation I could find, and it comes at a very reasonable price. So together, if you look at the 2 books and the simulation, it's probably going to be about, the total cost for the class will be around $75, which isn't bad considering most textbooks alone are $100 these days. So I always try to keep the cost of my class below $100, knowing that these textbooks and tools are expensive, but the 2 textbooks and the simulation, I feel, are the best combination of tools to get everything in this course that I want you to learn and reinforce. Here are how I grade in points, not percentages. So you add your points up, and they'll translate into these letter grades at the end of the class. So the test will be an online test. You will pull down when the test will open up in assignments on the time and the day that it's supposed to open up, which is, I think, January 20th. I put there at 6 a.m. The test will open up. You go to assignments. You pull down the test document. It'll be in a Word format. You will fill out the test. You'll be working online on this, and then you will submit the document back to the assignment when you're done, and it's essay and short answer. Now, participation is very important for this class. I know discussion boards are sometimes not always used in the most constructive way, but I've really integrated the discussion boards into the classwork and worked hard to make them interesting topics that you're going to want to you're going to have something to say about, and you can be a little bit passionate about. And the key thing is that students do participate at least 3 to 4 days a week in these discussion boards to make them valuable. Okay, so the class schedule is listed out here. In the winter class, they do something where it's like a Tuesday to Friday schedule, and it's from January 22nd to January 5th to January 22nd. And week 1, I have everything broken out by week 1 on the days, Tuesday through Friday. Week 2, Tuesday through Friday, and I have all of this is just our classwork. I'm not putting the assignments in here, but I'm listing out all of the chapters, the times, the days where I expect you to have read the chapter and watched the video. I'm putting them all out here and just giving you a good idea of what chapters to read when and what videos to read when, all the way up into the 3rd week. So I have recorded chapter videos on the chapters are covering in the red ocean and blue ocean. In the blue ocean, I've recorded two of the 4 lectures. I do have 2 guest lectures on the blue ocean that gives another sort of point of view on the blue ocean. That's a nice additional point of view to mine about that book. So I think you'll find that very interesting. Okay, so that's the syllabus. Take some time to look that over. Let's go back to course documents. I also have the notes, my PowerPoints on the Kellogg's and the Blue Ocean Strategy. Now these are PowerPoints I put together myself. They're not from the books. Since these are not typical textbooks, I've created these PowerPoints that go along with my video lectures from YouTube, in case you want to look at those. And I also have here, I wasn't able to do this for Kellogg's, but the Blue Ocean book, I do have MP3 audio files that you can access. If you purchase the book, then you can access these MP3 files, and you can listen to them in your car. You can put them on your MP3 player, listen to them when you're walking or jogging or driving to work. So that's just sort of a bonus feature if you wanted to listen to those somehow, maybe while you're working. Sometimes we do work that's a sort of routine. You can listen to things in the background. I don't know, it's up to you. But those audio files are there. It's just the Blue Ocean book being a full audio book being read. So it's important to have the book as well, because you really shouldn't be accessing the MP3 files unless you have purchased the book. And the book will be useful when completing the test, because it's hard to find flipping through the audio file to find the section you need to answer the question. So the book is a must, but the audio files is a nice little benefit if you prefer listening to the book rather than reading it. But the book itself will be easier to have, especially when you're taking the test, just as a hint. Okay, so that's what we have in our course documents area. Let's go to assignments. So I'm going to go into assignments first. And in here, the first assignment here is I have the discussion board. So the discussion board is 18 points. It's going to be 6 points per week. So I set up discussion board questions, which I call DBQs. And generally there are 2 per week. So figure each question is 3 points. And you'll see them in the discussion board. So I expect every student to create an original response on Monday and Tuesday, and then post their replies later on in the week. Okay, but more in the discussion boards later. This is just saying this is an assignment. Don't click on here to get to it or submit anything through the assignments for the discussion boards. This is just saying discussion boards are an assignment, and you have to complete it under the discussions tab, which we'll go to later. Okay, so case 1 is on drug prices, and I have a due date here, which is January 8th at 11:30, and its value is 10 points. So make sure you keep a backup copy of your case. You want to write it out in Word or equivalent, and you want to submit it to this link when you've finished. And I really appreciate submissions in PDFs or Word documents. It's difficult for me to read any other types of documents, so I really only want you to use Word or PDF format. And pretty much any word processing software you're using will be able to save the PDF. So what you do is you download the case study, and in the beginning of the case study I have the questions, and this is a rather big one. There's 9 questions, and then after that I string together a couple of articles that I think are valuable to answering the questions in the case. However, you shouldn't rely on those articles 100%. I am looking for you to do original research, go out, look up some information on these companies or these questions, get some additional information from articles, other publications, other textbooks that you may want to incorporate to round out your questions a little bit better. And when you're answering the case, it doesn't have to be, I don't really want to see a term paper format. I really just want to see question 1 and then the answer, question 2 and then the answer. Although if you are citing any facts or quotations from other sources, you need to use the proper formatting, citation formatting, when you put together your case. And if you are if you are not properly citating, you will lose a good amount of points on the case study for not using proper citations. You cannot just say something as a fact. You have to have something supported. So your opinions are fine. You can make as many opinions as you want. You don't need to cite those, of course. But any quotations or facts that you state, such as sales increased by 10%, I need to see a citation of where did you get that information from. These are professional. I want professional level papers here, not, undergraduate level papers. Okay, so that's, so once you, it might be easy just to highlight and copy these questions into a Word document and then start answering them. And it's okay to restate the question. I just, want it laid out so when I grade it, it's a little bit easier. I can see the question and your response. You have the proper citations and a reference list at the end of the paper. You put a reference list a lot like the example. And you could use any, under announcements, I should have under announcements, or we'll post soon under announcements, the different citations you can use. Here they are. I give you citation examples, and you're free to use APA APA I prefer, but if you want to use the medical way of citations, you could do that too. As long as it's one of the main, the top 3 citation formats, it's fine. Okay, let's go back to assignments. But very important, you can't write a professional level graduate paper without proper citations of your work. Just want to make that stress that. And I'm looking for this case study, a very graduate level, professional level paper to be written. Something that's proofread and well put together with no grammatical errors and answers the question generously. Okay, so that's case 1. Case 2 is due on January 12th, and that is on Tesla. Case 3 is on internet companies, and it's focusing on Amazon and Facebook, as well as Google and some other companies. So this is an interesting case about strategy and internet companies. And the 4th case is on LinkedIn. So I tried to pick cases that would be something current and interesting to you that you would want to work on, as well as a good example as to what we're doing in class. And in this course, in this winter class, we only really have time for 4 cases. In the summer, I do 6 cases, but because we only have 3 weeks, and I rather do a good job on 4 cases, and then rather than feel rushed and do a terrible job on 6 cases. So I'm paring this class down to 4 cases for the winter. Now the Zoom simulation, I have broken out some information here. It's a 15-point assignment, and each student will be a student of 1. Each team will be a student of 1. However, if you want to work in a group, you can do that. But a group can't be any bigger than 4 students. So you could work in just by yourself if you prefer. You can work with 2 people if you have a friend in class. You can work with 3 people if you have 2 friends in class, and you can work up to with 4 people altogether, including yourself, 4 people altogether if you know that many people in this course or you're familiar with people in this course. You can do that. I'll open up a discussion board area where you can if you want to ask for or look for teammates, you can do that. However, you can't just force yourself onto someone's team or join someone's team without their permission. So you would have to really work yourself to get into a team if you wanted to. Otherwise, you're free to work by yourself. I know a lot of students like that freedom, especially in a winter course when they don't really have time to consult or meet with other people to do a team project. So this can work as an individual or team project. It's up to you. Go to this website, jupiterinteractive.net. The class code is January 16th. I want you to do practice round 1 and 2 by January 9th. So every student has to do 2 practice rounds. And then the team competition you're responsible for as well. When you log into the simulation and after you pay for it, there'll be 2 buttons, individual practice and team simulation. So you want to do a couple rounds in the individual practice to get used to the simulation, and then you're going to start the team competition. So there's 6 rounds of the team competition, and I have the due dates January 6th, 10th, 13th, 17th, 20th, and 22nd, all due by 11 p.m. at night. So there are 6 rounds of the company that you're going to run. And each round of the simulation, you're going to have completed before January 6th or 11 p.m. Otherwise, your previous answers will be copied over and you'll fall behind. Now, performance in this is key. So if you want the full 15 points, you have to score over 2,500 to get the full 15 points. Generally, I have at least 80% of the class who score over 2,500 points. So it's and the students who score less than 2,500 points usually forget to do around, just don't spend enough time with the project, don't put any effort into it. So this is really it's really set at a very average level to get the full points for this assignment. So 2,500 is sort of a score most people, most undergraduates even can achieve, and you should have no problem achieving this if you apply yourself to the simulation. And the practice rounds are key to getting familiar with that. Now, there'll be a separate video going over the simulation and giving you instructions, helpful instructions of how you can complete a round successfully. So you can look for that. That will be posted closer to the actual start of the class. But here is the Jupyter Interactive website. You would sign up as a student. So you click up Sign Up Student. You fill out this information, and then you agree to the terms. The next step will be, it's going to look for a credit card payment. And the third step would be the class selection. This is where you put in my class code, which is January 16th. And then the fourth step would be team selection. So you can go in there and there'll be a button that says create team or join team. So if the first person in probably will see no teams to join, so you'll have to create your own team. And then unless you have permission to join someone else's team, you will have to create your own individual teams on that. Okay, so that's the simulation. And now the simulation is very Google-like. It's very intuitive. It's a very easy user interface. It's a very short 15-page student manual. So it's sort of like a game of chess. It's very quick to understand and to learn how to play. However, the strategic dynamics of it, like a game of chess, are a lot more in depth. So it's a great assignment to help you show me that you're able to take what you're learning in class and deploy it in a simulated company. Okay, so these are the assignments for class. So it's rather simple. We're going to be doing discussion boards, 4 case studies, and a simulation. Now, let's go to discussion boards to see how those work. Okay, so here is the discussion board area, and in here I created class questions. So if you click on here, you can create a thread, and maybe your question is, how can I get students to join my team? Maybe that's your question. So you can make a question like that. And you just submit. And now your question is in the discussion board. So if another student reading this, I would respond and say, you simply have to ask other students if they would like to join your team. You can create a new forum on the discussion board asking for teammates if you like. Okay, so that means that I'm just going to submit this. So that means that if you it's going to go back. So that means that if you wanted to create a thread and say, hi, I'm looking for teammates, then other students would see that sort of like a Craigslist ad, and then you could get some teammates if you wanted. That's up to you. I think doing the simulation by yourself is easier for time management wise, but if you have a friend in class that you want to work with, I'm more than happy to accommodate you and let you work as a team on this assignment. Only the simulation assignment, not the other assignments, just to make that clear. Okay, going back to discussion boards. Now, this class questions, you can use this to ask me any questions about the course that you may have that other students could benefit from. For example, you may say have a question like, when will the tests happen? I'm confused on the due date or the starting of the test. And then I would write, oh, well, if you would look on the syllabus, I clearly on the syllabus state the start and end time of the exam. And this is the start and end time of the exam. So I would post something like that, and then you would see it and other students will see it. So it's just, I'm sure you've been through this before. any type of questions you have about the course, you can ask there. Okay, so week 1, we have 2 discussion questions, discussion question 1 and discussion question 2. So you would click on this link here, and I've already posted a student example of the answer, so you get sort of an idea of what I'm looking for. And I try to do that when I can, is create an example. And you see these posts, these aren't discussion boards where you're just posting a few words. You're actually, I'm giving you a complex discussion question to answer that you're going to answer for the class. Now, so to create a new original post, you would just create thread, and you always start the post out with your name, with your name, and then maybe the company you're working with, or just a brief description of what your subject is, and just type into this box your actual original post. So if you want to create an original post, you have to click on this create thread. Once the thread is created, don't create an original post inside someone else's thread. So don't go inside someone's thread and then hit reply and make that your original post. When you hit reply, it's only to respond to that student's posting. So that way what we'll have is a list of we'll see a list here of everyone's original posts. Then you can read the original post and make a reply. Remember, each discussion board question, you should make 1 original post and 2 replies as a minimum. Okay. So I have 2 discussion questions for week 1 that are, a little involved. And I asked that you make the original post on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday to give a chance for everybody to read it. And then your replies can really be any time, but most replying, it's safe to reply on Thursday and Friday when most people have made their posted. And if you want to make more than 2 replies, you're more than welcome. That only helps me to grade you more effectively. And you can also rate the posts. So when you go in and you read a post, so if I was to read this post, and then there's their overall rating here, you can rate the post. This is my post, so I can't rate my own post. That's the lowest form of feedback that you could at least provide to other students, is give them overall rating. And this helps me to grade their posts as well. So if I see an overall rating of 5 stars, I'm expecting great post. If I see a rating of 1 or 2 stars, and I know that this person, the other students are telling me this person is really not living up to their discussion board promises. And it's anonymous. No one can see that what you rated, who's rated you, as far as it's just an average of the stars that people have rated. So it's completely anonymous. And it's a great way to provide feedback to other students based on how they're putting their cases together. Okay. Now, so then week 2, we have, and I labeled discussion week 2, so you know which week the discussion board questions are due. And they also have, if you look here, I also put due dates of when they're starting and when they're ending. So should be no confusion about when the discussion boards, and they're not open for the full week. They sort of open up on Monday and they finish up on Friday. Okay. Now week 2, I have 2 more discussion questions, and then week 3, I have the last 2 discussion questions for week 3. So there's 6 questions altogether, 2 questions a week. It's really not that big of an assignment, so don't think like it's that much work. You're really creating 2 original posts and replying to hopefully more than 2 students, but 2 is the minimum. But please be generous and encourage your other students, or help them if their posts could use some additional flushing out or development. So this is just a great way, and I've tried to keep all of the post discussion board questions interesting, relative to the topic, and beneficial to you, so you're not wasting your time by completing them. They're actually helping you to think and develop and reinforce the learning goals of this class. So I really have a fun time with these discussion board questions, and typically students enjoy working on them as well. So this is something to look forward to. Okay, so that's basically the course. So you now have your video, which you've completed getting started. I would always start the class out by reading the current announcements, seeing what assignments are due, and participating in the discussion boards. And as long as you keep on top of, if you think of it this way, I have my simulation work to do, my discussion board work to do, and my case studies to do. That's really what you're worried about every week. So I've tried to lay things out as as organized as possible to give you a really good sense of what you need to do in this class. And I try to grade very timely and give you constructive feedback to help you to continuously improve throughout the course. Okay, so that's it for this getting started video for this course. If you have any questions after you watch this video, please put them in the class question form here. Unless it's of a more personal nature, then you're always free just to email me privately if it's something you don't want the other students to. If you have any issues about the other students seeing the questions you want to post, you're always free to email me or even talk to me during office hours. And that's a pretty good overview of the class. Look forward to future videos. I will be posting a video soon that will give you an overview of the simulation to help you complete the simulation. And I will be here on a very continuous basis on the 3 weeks in January to help give you feedback and help keep you on track with this course. Okay, thanks a lot, and I hope you enjoy the class.